name is? Glue. Caesar is the glue that holds everything together. Looks like the meeting is being live streamed. Thank you all. My name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of our wonderful college. You all are attending our bi-weekly college council meeting. This is the first meeting of the semester. And let me say, so far, spring is wrapping up to be an exciting semester. We had our wonderful Lunar New Year event today. Hopefully you got a chance to stop by there. I want to just publicly thank Nora, Corinne, Caesar, and everyone who had something to do with facilities. Jay, I know you and your team are doing triple time. There's already shaping up to be a number of events on campus. Spring is here. We are back 60% in person. It is so good to see our wonderful students in person. Thank you to all of our faculty, classified professionals who are here providing support both in person, virtually, hybrid. Folks, we're still trying to figure this out, but we're doing a great job as we try to figure it out. College council is the highest level of governance at the college. Momentarily, I'm going to be introducing the representatives from various constituency groups on campus. There are a number of ways you can present an item to college council for discussion. First, beginning with emailing one of the leaders of the constituency groups that I'm going to introduce. Secondly, you could also reach out to Janelle or Aaron in the president's office. And yes, Aaron is back in the president's office. So if you need to send an email to the president's office, please include Aaron Flanagan. We're so happy to welcome her back. Certainly Janelle and Ira have done an amazing job in her absence. We're lucky to have Janelle continue with us, who is a college student herself and going to be transferring here this spring. So if you want an agenda item, you can work with Aaron. Janelle are the leaders of the constituency groups. Before I go into the introductions, we did have a matter on campus today. Well, the positive one, I talked about the Lunar New Year, but we had one that reminds me of why we are committed to social justice. Unfortunately, we had a student who discovered a racist comment on one of our bathrooms. Someone had written the N-word on one of the bathrooms in the M building. I want to thank Jay and his team, John, for getting right on it. But the reality is that some of our students and some of our faculty members saw this derogatory statement. And it reminds us that unfortunately we live in a country, in a world where hate surrounds us in many cases. And certainly in the spirit of Black History Month, it's unfortunate that as a Black American, these are the realities that we deal with. They're real. And to quote one of the faculty members who saw a picture of the defacement of the bathroom, outside of the bathroom, I believe it was, Jay, anti-Blackness is real. And so I am working on a communication to the campus because, frankly, I remember being a student at UC Davis and this happened and the administration tried to cover it up. And that's never my desire. Like, we need to have these discussions so that we weed out people who think that this sort of thing is acceptable, because somebody who would use the N-word in any other way than nice would also say derogatory things about other people who are members of other communities. And so sorry to mention that, but being that this is college council and it is being live streamed, folks should know the communication will come out as soon as we can hit send to the campus that this took place. I asked Marciano to work with the Student Health Center to put together some kind of healing circle. Frankly, I don't even know what that is, but I hear people say it. And I know we have experts in the health center who do that sort of thing. In the communication, I'll remind those of us who interact with our students, refer them to the Student Health Center where we have free, wonderful counseling. For our employees, we have the employee assistance program. And I also try to tackle what can we do, right, to fight these isms, if you will. And the first thing we can do is support the events that are going on as part of Black History Month. Secondly, we can acknowledge our Black students, that we see them, we love them, we support them. And the same for our Black colleagues. We see you, we support you. But these are very real matters that have to be tackled, they have to be discussed. And it's unfortunate that occurred on our campus. We don't know who did it. It was discovered by an alumni of the college who is a Black male who was visiting the campus. And the fact of the matter is, as a Black person, I can't even remember the first time I was called to him. And I don't even know the number of times that I've been called to him. And I maybe even be desensitized by it. But what I do know is that when people use that word, it's a means of power. Us trying to exert power on someone else. And so I'm trying to tackle that in a way that we inform people that this is real. And we have to circle the wagons and support folks who were members of this community. Anytime there's an attack on one, then there's an attack on all. Any comments, questions about that before we move on? Yes, right.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that's what happens if you move, George.
Yes.
Sorry about that. If there are no further comments, we'll go ahead and do the roll call. Mona is with us, past president of the Academic Senate. Tilly, vice president of instruction. Robbie, chair of Institutional Technology Council.
Present.
Caesar, information officer. Jay, supervisory rep.
Here.
Sunal, president, chairs the cabinet.
Present.
Susan, dean of institutional effectiveness.
Present.
Masa is quiet over there. Hey, Masa, administrative representative.
I'm here, present.
Diego, who is standing in for Diego, is Nicole and Tammy. Good to see you all. Thank you all. ASG Government Affairs, and Tammy, you're the vice
Treasurer.
treasurer.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm speaking it into existence. Correct? You all are the reason we are here, so your voice matters as much as anyone else here. And a lot of times we think we know what students want, but to hear it from students is always welcome. John, Vice President of Administrative Services. Present. Marciano, Vice President of Students.
Present.
Sean, President Classified Senate.
Present.
Maria Jose, President of the Academic Senate.
Here.
These are the leaders of constituency groups. For those of you who are watching, if you'd like to bring an agenda item forward, you can work with one of these amazing leaders on campus. They would be happy to put an agenda item on College Council. We are working, we set it a goal. Janelle and I and Aaron met yesterday. Our goal is to get this agenda out Friday before the meeting, but we need your help. We're going to go back to pre-pandemic, where the week that we're not meeting, Janelle will send out an email saying, do you have any agenda items? Bear with us as we work toward that. Moving forward, we are only going to place something on the agenda after the Friday if it's an emergency. Otherwise, our goal is to get this agenda out so that you have the proper time necessary, myself included, to review the items on the agenda. We are working toward that goal. We had a meeting about that yesterday. The first item on the second item on the agenda is approval of the meeting notes from January 24th. Would someone like to make a motion?
This is Robbie. I'd like to make.
Thank you, Robbie, with the first. Is there a second?
Maria Jose.
Thank you, Maria Jose. Any further discussion, changes? All in favor of approving the meeting notes, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone like to abstain or object to the meeting notes? Hearing none, motion Passes. Welcome back to spring 2023. In your package, what we will be sending is the enrollment update. We are trending a little lower than we're comfortable with, but given that we're still coming out of a pandemic, there's a lot of emerging hope around the great work that took place last week with welcoming our students back in person. We'll send out the enrollment update electronically to you all. We're at about 73% of our target, which I'm a little uncomfortable with, but there is a lot to discuss. We will be discussing next College Council, Janelle, the date, I believe March 24th. We'll work with Sinai and Maria Jose and all the leaders. We really want to schedule an enrollment management forum where we build on the 4 areas that we are focusing in on to get our students back. And really, we haven't lost a lot of students. What we're seeing is that we have students taking less than 6 units. So we have to ask the question, is our college designed for a student taking less than 6 units? So we'll work with Susan Murray. Janelle, let's get Maria Jose in that planning meeting that we're going to take together for that day, where I hope to have breakout sessions for each of the 4 pillars. I have absolutely heard that some people believe that going door to door is not yielding anything, or that info sessions are not yielding everything. And I would beg to differ for those of us who participated in those activities. But if folks have ideas that they believe that will work, we certainly love to hear them. We understand that there's continued work that needs to take place with the website. And so we really need a day where we come together and strategize and get on the same page about how to move forward, because there are some implications with the funding formula as it relates to our ability to maintain the amount of funding that we're receiving to run our amazing college. Spring is shaping up to be one of the busiest in my professional career. There are end of the year events. You could literally go to a conference every week. My travel schedule is probably a little heavier than normal. I'm on an accreditation visit for East LA College as we gear up for our own accreditation visit. And so there are a number of things that you can get involved in, that we need you to get involved in. And we'll be sharing those things over the course of the semester. But welcome to spring semester. Looking forward to coming to the Academic Senate meeting. Looking forward to coming for a meeting with Jay and the SPA team, as well as Sean and the classified professionals. There are a number of activities going on, and we are still hiring. Speaking of hiring, we will be coming forth with a proposed discussion about an instructional reorg across the state, folks. And here's the thing I think I want you to take away about the spring, because I get to talk, and I'm sure you all are talking to other colleges, your colleagues at other places. Every college on the planet, every community college is struggling with enrollment and hiring people. We're seeing a lot of failed searches. It's not, these things are not unique to City College. And colleges are having challenges with the number of people in their positions. So if folks are patient, we will get this figured out over the next year or so. Any questions about spring? Any announcements about spring that you all would like to highlight? Welcome back, Marciano.
There's a lot of things happening for Welcome Back Week. There, some things have already taken place. We had Club Rush that just took place. We've had a resource fair, and there's a couple of other things that will be coming. Tomorrow is the grand opening of the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Basic Needs Hub, the food pantry. So that will happen from 12 to 1, and we're having a ribbon cutting ceremony. So that will be there. Hopefully folks will be able to attend that. But there is a host of calendar of events that are publicized on the web for anyone that is looking for any of the activities that we have for Black History Month as well as Welcome Week on the web.
And so that you went into kind of number 6, maybe for those who are not familiar with the NICE table and basic needs center, like what are those?
Yeah, so our basic needs, we have a brand new basic needs coordinator. Her name is Nydia Dominguez. And she is, I believe, her second week on the job here at City. But she has been tasked with basically what will be running our basic needs hub, which will include the NICE table, which is the new food pantry, as well as the NICE closet / Fantastique that we're trying to rebrand Fantastique into something more aligned with the NICE table. So someone suggested the NICE closet. So we'll see where the name lands, but we are hoping to have a space where students will be able to get clothing as well as other household items that will be tied to the Welcome City program. So the Welcome City program, which is our program for housing and for homeless and housing insecure students. We have a housing navigator that works with that program. So they are now fully staffed as well with 2 full-time case managers that are working with that, with the full-time housing navigator. And then they have 2 project assistants that are graduate student interns, social workers that will help students to complete the basic needs assessment form that then gives them access to lots of different resources on campus, including that's where they can go and find out about the use of technology. So if they need to rent a laptop through Robbie's area, then we give them information there. If they need access to food, we give them access to the food pantry as well as other places in our community where they can get food resources. If they need medical or mental health, then we make a referral to our student health or mental health, and we're working now to get Care Solace, which is a mental health program in the community, as well as Timely MD, which is a medical service in the community, so that students who need to access community care are able to do that for free using those 2 services. And so we've got lots of things that are happening in basic needs, and really knowing that our students, if we don't take care of their basic needs, then they really aren't able to function and can't do the things that we want them to do, like be good students, if they're worrying about where they're going to eat or where they're going to sleep or how they're going to take care of themselves or their families. So the basic needs hub will be hopefully a one-stop place where students can go get their questions answered, get connected to resources like HealthFresh. They'll have information about other programs like EOPS, CARE, CalWORK for folks that need information on that, or Next Up for our former foster youth will all be given out of the basic needs hub.
Questions about that?
I'd say, and it's in the T building.
Any questions for Marciano? Yes.
Has the housing budget expanded? Last time I took it last semester, the list was over for even this semester. So I wonder if that's like because we have more full-time employees, if that expanded.
So the hope is that yes, that they'll be able to help more students. Really, it's more about, can we find affordable housing in San Diego, which is part of, it's not so much that we don't have the staffing as much as there's not a lot of property in San Diego for us to do that. But we're hoping that one of the things that Nydia will be doing is also working with new partnerships to kind of expand and see where we can do that. I know that there's actually a meeting that she's going to be attending tomorrow through SANDAG and in San Diego to talk a little bit about transportation for students, and so how we address basic needs around transportation for students is going to be there. So there's a lot of work to be done, and unfortunately, we're kind of in the center of all of that, given that we are living in one of the highest priced places in the country. So
yeah, and I would add that Nydia will also be working to develop partnerships with area hotels, motels, so that we can have a much easier process to do like an emergency housing situation. Like if a student needed a night at a hotel, which doesn't solve their housing matter, but for someone who is unhoused, a safe bed to sleep in and a hot shower can go a long way. The other thing that Marciano and the team over there will be working on is the bus pass matter. I think we found about $100,000 to offer bus passes for our students. And I believe a rep from his team is going to a meeting with the transportation folks as we continue to advocate for free bus passes for all of our students. But Marciano and his team will be rolling that out over the course of the semester. And if you ever wonder kind of what does the president do, that's part of what I'm doing, is out working with politicians and donors to identify funding resources. So we've identified about $100,000 that we can use for bus passes for our students as we continue to advocate for free bus passes for all students. The other thing, moving to number 4, that I frankly have been working on for 5 years. It has been a tall task to secure Balboa Park for commencement. I think we would agree it's a very beautiful place, but they made us jump through a lot of hoops. So I'm happy to report, after meeting with the mayor and the manager of Balboa Park, we've secured the dates for the next 5 years for Balboa Park. Those dates are listed here on the floor. And we got the pick of our dates, which is the first time in my 6 years of being here. So thank you. It was a very interesting discussion, frankly, because there are people who get to reserve the park before we do. And I just posed the question, our college is nearing 109 years old. How can someone have preference over, like, the park and the college was established at the same time? And it took literally 4 years of advocating before I was able to get the mayor's office and the manager of Balboa Park. And the manager of Balboa Park was not willing to do this, but we were successful in getting the support of the mayor's office. And so if you see the mayor, please know that he supports our college, because this would not have happened without our relationship with the mayor's office. But these are now the dates going, trying to get 50 years, but I settled on 5. So that means you all are stuck with me for these 5. No joke. So these are the dates for the next 5 years. Any questions about item 4 or 6 on the agenda? Number 5 is the ASG Student Forum, which is happening this February, this Wednesday, tomorrow. And this is my opportunity to really just interact with the students. It's a question and answer. You all are welcome. We're going to hear from our students what their challenges, what their opportunities are. So it is in person tomorrow, February 8th. I believe an email went out to all students inviting them to come. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know, Tammy, if you and your colleague would like to say anything, you and Nicole would like to say anything about that.
I'm also part of Metro on campus, so we're currently working on a flyer to email out today again, just to remind people that will be happening, and I am bringing the Metro Club
Great.
to it. So
Please, all are welcome. Number 7 is an event we're having on February 10th. I don't know if either Sunal or Susan would like to talk about item number 7.
I can't do one. That would be great.
Yes, yeah. So we recognize that there are a lot of things going on, but really want to encourage as much participation as we can have at this in-person event, which will be this Friday, 9 a.m. MS 140. We have an online registration link. We're hoping to get a rough head count, but this is to really start the process of taking a look at reviewing and updating our mission statement. It's something that we should do periodically. And in the processes that we have been through in the last couple of years as a college, first, the development of our social justice commitment, that raised some questions about things that potentially should be included in the mission. And now the news that we have a baccalaureate degree program that has been approved. That's another reason to relook at the mission statement. So if you absolutely cannot be there, next Monday after the forum, our website will go live with alternate, with the input that we collected on Friday and alternate online means of contributing your ideas. But we are really hoping to get folks there for the dialogue in person.
Yes, we currently only have 11 people registered, so the more people can do to invite people, the awesome.
Yeah, we'll get another campus email out. I'll put it actually in the announcement I'm gonna send about the other matter in the email as well. There's a lot.
No, and we know that there is a lot of committee work typically on Fridays, so we're asking committee chairs if they please would just sacrifice their time to bring all their people
That's a great
to
idea.
the forum to do like, this is a working forum, so it's important to have as many people there because, you know, your voice matters and we're revisiting the mission or reinventing the mission of our campus. So the more people that can participate, the more value that we'll have. And of course, I will invite ASG, please, if you know students coming or if they want to participate, we will have a forum just for students that we're gonna do at Zoom to provide more accessibility for all of you, but it would be great if you can bring some of you on campus or tell anybody to come in and participate in recreating this or revisiting the mission, because it's important work and it's actually tied to strategic planning and master planning and accreditation and all the good stuff that we do as a college. So this is a good time for everyone to engage and participate and be a change agent.
Yes, and if deans and managers could encourage their classified
Offices,
professionals.
yes.
Yeah, classified professionals, encourage you to come on board. I'm gonna be sending out additional promotions for this event for classified.
We almost ask if we can do a pause. I know that is pretty crazy and unrealistic, but if at least they can come in for an hour or so at a time, but you know, it's important that everybody feels that they are invited and that they're welcome and that we all support them into being there.
There a follow-up to this? Just because Friday there's a pretty significant event,
Which one?
the Ricky's event Friday evening, so a lot of us are involved in that, so I don't know if there's a follow-up to this or.
There's
So-
an online
Yeah.
forum that opens on Monday.
Yes. And we will send more information. So yeah, if you cannot be physically there, then there's gonna be a space on the web where you can add all your feedback. So it is important that you just read the mission as it stands today, so you can bring your own ideas of how that has changed through the times. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all, and we will get a number of announcements out between now and then to include the invitation I'm sending out today. And speaking of my event, which is really the college's event, as part of Black History Month, item number 8, everyone is invited to stay with us for a networking event from 5:30 to 8 p.m. this Friday, where there'll also be a job fair. So if you know anyone who's looking for a job at a community college, all of the Seneca colleges will be represented there. We're all hiring. This is a great way to meet one of the college presidents. It's a great way to meet with someone from Human Resources. The first 25 people will get free food. There's going to be 3, I believe, food trucks. There'll be music. This is open to the public. There'll be a panel featuring our 3 district presidents, as well as the superintendent, Denise Wisenheim, will all be here. And so everyone is invited. It'll be a great event to showcase campus. On February 16th is the continuation of our work with the Tri-Hub, which is a listen and learn, or lunch and learn with myself and students to talk about how do we support our LGBTQ plus students on campus. You all have the information there from 12 from noon to 1:30 in the Pride Hub. If you have not been to the Pride Hub, please stop by and check it out. You'll be impressed with the work that is going on over there as we seek to increase the hours and ensure that students have a community within a community on campus. And next up is information on guided pathways. Susan and Christina.
Hello. I can tell you, I'm like, well, oh, okay. That's me. That's me. Hi, everyone. Hi. I'm happy to be in community with you all. If you don't know me, my name is Cristina Carrillo. I am Guided Pathways co-coordinator. And today we wanted to bring to you all some updates of what we're working on, what we have been working on. And just reminding everybody that we're building this together, right? And Guided Pathways is all of our work, and we're all doing it as we continue on our day-to-day work. So next slide, please. So I wanted to give an update on our team. So our team is growing, and I'm super excited to have more of a robust team now. We added this, starting this semester, Kim Sweeney, which is one of our psychology professors. She is amazing. She's in different spaces right now in curriculum committee, chair, like she's been doing a lot of different things. So she's gonna be an amazing addition to our team to provide a lot of support in some of the efforts that we already started. And of course, our fearless Susan Murray, that we still don't know how she does it all, but she has definitely been instrumental in some of our practices and the things that we're doing, especially for a lot of the historical stuff that has happened in the past with Guided Pathways. And Masa on the sidelines sometimes. No, not anymore. But I think one of the most exciting additions is we have two new current students. One we hired as Nance, and then the other as work study. Both of our students are going to be contributing to our team as project assistant. But at the same time, like I think the most important part of it is that they are also providing perspectives as students in a lot of the processes that we're revising as Guided Pathways.
That's amazing.
So that's Dave and Veronica Vasquez. Yeah. Next slide, please.
So, this city's journey along in this Guided Pathways work has been going on for a while. You know, if you have been here throughout that journey, that there were a lot of questions about what is Guided Pathways, what does it mean? What does it mean for us? How can we use this opportunity to help our students? And the three elements of this definition were developed, I think, probably at the end of the second year of a lot of conversation. There are aspects to Guided Pathways, and we'll get to the four pillars in a minute, because we are kind of using those loosely to organize our activities. But there are things that look characteristic of Guided Pathways in terms of the way that student information is presented. And we wanted to be sure that we weren't doing those in a superficial way, that we really looked into the why of some of these practices. So we identified these three principles, and we use this as a check. You know, anytime that we're engaged in planning, we ask ourselves, you know, is this work helping us move toward a more student-centered educational environment? Are these activities going to cultivate engagement and belonging? Are we working toward more clarity? Do we have coherent and intentional academic programs and support services? Are we really thinking about design? And always being equity-minded. Are we ensuring that our colleges and college processes and systems help us move toward equity and look at our own practices rather than assuming a deficit view of students, that it's something that the students don't know or don't come to us with that's creating a problem. But we need to look at ourselves and our processes and systems. So on the next slide, this is a very high-level summary of things we have been working on. Those 4 boxes kind of represent the 4 pillars of guided pathways, and that terminology has kind of been part of the project the approach from the beginning. And it really has to do with the journey. That you have clear information upfront, that you help students choose an inner pathway, then stay on the pathway. Because it's not instantaneous from entry to completion of an educational goal. And that throughout this process that we're actually ensuring that meaningful learning is taking place. So these are just some of the things that we have been involved with, either as a guided pathways project, as a collaboration with counseling or outreach or communications or faculty professional development or another area of the college. Some of these are ongoing, some of these are completed. But on the Clarify the Path side, we have been collaborating with counseling on how best to get students on the right track and connected with the right support to get their initial ed plan and course schedule completed. We've provided, in collaboration with the Pathway Navigation Project, funding for our online orientation. And if you have not taken a look at that, that went live during the pandemic, and it's a fabulous, fabulous tool with a lot of great information about the college. We've been working on analysis of our courses and degrees. We got some support from the RP group. We've been collaborating with the curriculum committee on what is on our books, what's in our catalog, is it up to date? Does that align with what's on the website? And this also relates to other points in the student journey as well. And then provided a lot of support to outreach and some of the tools and resources that they've been developing.
So a lot of these are just a couple to highlight. We have been working either in the trenches with them or financing some of the efforts. So a lot of the times it's not like we're putting guided pathways logos in all of these efforts. They're happening, we're supporting them however we want, but how we need to, right? And what is requested. But a lot of these are kind of interconnected. If we think about, we're clarifying the path for our students. Once they're here, what are we doing to ensure that they're here? But for clarifying the path that we're following under that pillar, I think that's just a couple to highlight. Do you want me to take the intro of the path?
Sure.
So one of the biggest projects that we worked over the last couple of years, and specifically during the pandemic, unfortunately, it was supposed to be in person, but we had to do it during the pandemic, was a collaboration with UCLA. So what we wanted to do is ask the students, right? We wanted to ask the students, what is working for you when it comes to entering our campus? What is not working? What do we need to do career-wise so that you feel supported in choosing your career? And so we paid, I think it was close to 100 students for a 50-minute interview. We paid them $50 so that they can tell us what do they have to say about our processes that is not working for them. From that, we built, we analyzed the data, or UCLA analyzed the data for us. They brought a report to us, and then we created workshops to see what is the faculty, what is the staff, what is the community at City College sees in our campus that is not working for our students. And so we collected that data too. And next Monday, we have a meeting with the UCLA team and our team so that we can say, okay, from all of this collection of data, what can we do to ensure that we're implementing it? to clear our paths for our students, right? So we're working on that project. That was one of the biggest ones, but we've been a supporter of CCAP in a lot of their personal development, ELAC Go for our students to take that online assessment. The course analysis for the RP group is basically in every single one of these pillars, because what we're trying to figure out is what courses are we offering, do we have in our catalog that have not been offered? And students cannot complete our degrees because we haven't offered those courses for the last 2-3 years, right? What degrees do we need to revisit just to ensure that our students are actually able to complete those degrees, right? What time should we be offering these classes? So I think Tilly has been a proponent for 2-year planning for our classes for a long time. And so that's something that we've been working on and we continue to work on. For staying on the path.
Sure. So staying on the path is really, a lot of the visible guided pathways things happen at the point of entry. But really staying on the path is the heart of this, because it's what are we doing to make sure that students stay engaged so that they can complete, they can reach their educational goal and move on to whatever is next for them. So we developed a model for collaborative support teams that focuses on problem solving and communication and design thinking, bringing together teaching faculty, counseling faculty, student support folks, and where possible, student voices. We have piloted that approach. That is an effort that has been somewhat sidetracked by the pandemic, but we are planning to adapt it for the new, I'm blanking on the name of the Promise model that's going to be implemented in the fall. Yes, where students are the Promise Path to Success, where entering students are going to be enrolled. Promise students are expected to attend time. So we will be packaging a bundle of courses that these students will enroll in together, and there is now a dedicated counselor for Promise. Those aspects were not necessarily are coming from Guided Pathways, but what Guided Pathways is bringing to the table is this model for communication, so that once these students are here, there is a framework to quickly identify any barriers that they're encountering and move to address them, so that they don't get held up once they are here and enrolled. We've done a lot of, had a lot of conversation about curriculum, again, in partnership with the curriculum committee. We had a summer workshop a couple of years ago, I think 2 of them, that we called curriculum camps. And we're continuing to work with them on how do we make sure that our degrees and certificates, our course offerings, and our scheduling are all aligning to make sure that students complete their work. One thing that we are really hopeful about that's in this section is a program called High Point that we are in conversation with the entire district about. This is an add-on to Campus Solutions that would let us make a lot more use of students' ed plan information in helping us determine what courses to offer and when to offer them, and also helping students be able to plan ahead and look at their plan and figure out where the gaps are and what courses they need to take to complete. That's a big, complex effort. Anything that works with Campus Solutions really should be addressed district-wide, because that's a platform that supports all of us. So we're continuing to work with the district on that.
And the last one, ensuring learning. I know that the Chancellor's Office for this specific year, there was additional funding that we received for the next 5 years. And a lot of the focus wanted to be in what is happening in our classrooms, right? We want to ensure learning for our students. So we have been focusing since the get-go in supporting professional development, and there has been funding every semester, right? That we provide for professional development for our campus. But if anybody's ever interested in turning in proposals, we also have those individual proposals that we consider in the Guided Pathways Committee for Professional Development. But additional learning that we've supported CCAP again, we've done some data advocacy to ensure that people are being data informed in a lot of their processes in our campuses, culturally responsive practices, and then recently a peer online course review process that is being led by Eileen. Just so that those folks who are teaching online are more prepared to be teaching online to teach our students. So that's just a couple of things we wanted to highlight on what's been going on over the last 4 or 5 years, is it? Yes. So the next slide, I just wanted to highlight some of the biggest projects that we're working on. So the first one is the website update. So as you all know, our website is in progress. And I think a lot of
Great way to put it.
it's in progress and it needs a lot of love, and we want to give it some love, but specifically because we want our students and all of us too, all of us who work in this campus, we want to be able to search something in the website and be able to find the information that we're looking for. And you know, unfortunately, our communications office has been in need of support for a long time, and finally we're getting a little bit more support. And finally got a couple of folks to help Cesar out. So hopefully we can continue doing some of those updates, but we're also contracting folks outside so that we can do that fast.
And really, we're looking at alignment, you know, the model that we've had where departments kind of are, you know, responsible for a set of pages that talk about their programs and services, but the way that they present that information may be different than the way another area has presented their information, but the two really need to interconnect and use the same terminology and support each other. So, you know, now that we have been in this space for a while, we really need to kind of take a step back and look at that alignment and the consistency.
Yes, the content, we really want to make sure the students are able to find what classes are offered for each department, what degrees are offered for each department. We want students to be able to access student services, up-to-date information, correct information. There's a lot of pages that are no longer relevant that we need to take down. So it's going to be a lot of work, but we're excited to work in collaboration with the communications office team. And we're excited to also tap into all of you, right? Because this is going to take a village, y'all. So hopefully when I am reaching out, or the Office of Communications is reaching out, that you all are able to support in those processes too. A huge undertake is anything related to CCC Apply. So as you all know, CCC Apply, it comes down or is decided at the chancellor's level, and all of our students have to apply to our community college through CCC Apply. Now, as we all know, some of the content that our students encounter as soon as they click on trying to start that application, it's already jargon that maybe they're not familiar, we're not familiar with it sometimes. Some information that's being asked from our students, it doesn't make sense for even data collection processes. So currently we're advocating with the district with our representative at the chancellor's level for that data, which is Victor DeBoer, on some of the questions that are being asked in CCC Apply, and if it even makes sense for our students to have to answer. Currently, we were asked at the district level to see if we can, the second page that our students encounter after putting their demographic information is enrollment information, which has currently 3 questions, but it's going to go to 4 questions. The first question is term, they're applying to. Second question is educational goal. In the educational goal, they have a list of like 12 different components of the type of goal that the student potentially is pursuing at an institution. It is data that is outdated. Some of the questions, do you want to do remedial courses and all that stuff? So that's going to be revamped. And Victor DeVore is currently advocating at the state level. But our curriculum committee specifically is creating a list of suggestions and feedback for that particular point. The third question there that they're being asking us to address, and we do have control over, is they want major categories. Now, in other campuses, the major categories were established as academic career pathways or meta majors, which is the most popular term for it. So we are looking to simplify that and do it a little bit different. And we're still, again, collaborating. Well, actually, we're going to start with the students. So we will want to do a couple of focus groups with students to see what would be the best way or what they want to encounter when they first start applying to the college, on how they process the information for maybe majors or the goals, like maybe you won't know you want to transfer, but you don't know what major you want to have. So we're going to come up with a very student-friendly, we hope, major categories for them to then explore what type of majors they could pursue at City College. So this is a lot.
Yeah, right now, you jumped from the question kind of like, why am I here? As a student, to, okay, next step, you're looking at this list of over 120 different degree and certificate programs in alphabetical order. So, if you look at the different programs, say in behavioral and social sciences, you may not know that you have to scroll past psychology to be able to look at sociology. So there's got to be some middle ground there that's going to be more useful to students, but we want students to help us shape that.
Yeah, and statistically speaking, the majority of our students are accountants, right? Because it's the first one on the list or the first recognizable one.
All the way to the bottom.
John is okay with this.
You have to go all the way to the bottom to find the undecided option.
So we just want to make it more accessible to our students. So that's what CC Apply is happening right now. In addition to, the district is now also connecting from CCC Apply directly to self-enrolling students into a Canvas shell. Not self-enrolling, automatically enrolling students into a Canvas shell that is supposed to provide all of the information that we want to provide to our students. So that is definitely also the next step after the first step, which is in the works. We are also going to ask for a lot of help for that. And then the last one, again, is kind of all interconnected. We already did some analysis with the RP group of what programs we're offering, what courses we're offering, what needs to be revised in collaboration with curriculum and the RP group. We're going to continue to clarify those for our students to ensure that we're not having students in random degrees that we no longer, that are no longer achievable. So those are the biggest things. We are looking, if anybody is interested, and this is on the YouTube, anybody interested, we're still looking for one more person to join our team. We're hoping for somebody that is excited about website updates and Canvas shell. So if anybody that is super techie, and our faculty, professionals, and staff professionals, anybody are very welcome to join the team. Email either Susan or myself or Kim Sweeney.
Crystal, Christine, excuse me, maybe you could present to the New Hire Institute, if you haven't done so already, the opportunity.
Okay. Sure.
I just wanted to come back, and there were two things. Susan, you mentioned at High Point, and I know you and I have been discussing trying to get information for the schedule, for these core strategies, enrollment strategies that we're after, like evening classes, et cetera. to be able to capture, like, how do I know what students are out there, what they still need? What we can offer and when we can offer. I know those are the kind of questions that we've had out there. And it's been difficult to try to get that information. Is there a solution?
I mean, my understanding is that that's something that High Point package offers. It takes a lot of kind of back end setup to structure reports that would give us that information from Campus Solutions as we've implemented it, because we've done a pretty bare bones implementation as a district. And so this is an add-on tool that works with all of that data, but gives us more of a web-based front end, so that you can go in and find that information. We know it's there. We just don't have good tools for getting it out of the system right now.
So I'll add that Susan Topo is working with EAB, who has a lot of these solutions. And there are meetings ongoing about this. We absolutely know that we need to get to a place where instruction can run reports from the ed plans, assuming the ed plan is current, to be able to do some predictive analysis. And so that's coming. It's probably not coming soon enough. The other part of it is, I was sharing with Christina earlier, and she looked confused when I said people lost, which showed me she never heard me say that before. A lot of this has to do with the customization of PeopleSoft, which we did more than we should have. And I am not a fan of PeopleSoft. And then John reminds me that the version of PeopleSoft that we're using is not the Maserati. I don't know if that's a good car, whatever. It's not the souped up version.
It's not the Lexus.
Pick your best car, right? Mine's is a Range Rover. I drive a GMC. But it's, so that is also contributing to some of this, notwithstanding the exorbitant amount of money that we spent on PeopleSoft. We went a little out there on the customizations, which then you can't run the standard reports that you would traditionally be able to. So we've got some work to do to get to that place, but we know we need to get to that place.
That was one, just trying to figure out how to get some of that information so that we can, I believe the faculty will offer the classes that students need if we know what they are,
Yes.
right? So I truly believe that.
Yeah.
They'll offer them if they know what they are. We just don't know what they are at the moment, all of them. The other part I wanted to bring up, because you brought it up too, is about the website. And we had a discussion last week.
I heard it was a lively discussion.
It was a lively discussion at Curriculum. Back Caesar and some things there about the website and suggestions, and maybe we can move forward. So we have an idea of how to help you with that as well. So, but everyone always has ideas about the website and thinking of what it could or should look like, but also have to go within our means of what we have. So you can always make things better. So we're just going to be looking for feedback and input, but definitely on the next curriculum committee, I'm going to invite Caesar and Vic, and I'll be contacting curriculum committee, which I'm part of too. So to let us go back and what can we do and to offer some assistance.
Yeah, and I've heard the website enough times now that I am formally requesting that Caesar relaunch the task force going through our governance process to assign folks. The other thing is, anytime folks start talking about the website, it is, in my opinion, necessary to have Sean and Bradford there, because they have a expertise that sometimes we see things, but let's remember that the website is not for us. The website is actually for the students. And so we've got to find a happy medium between what people want and what students want, because those usually are not the same thing. And it doesn't do any good to have this website and the students can't find what it is they want to find. So we have no problem with identifying the necessary resources to update the website, but there's gotta be student focus groups. We'll be right back having the same exact discussion, which we are. But it does need to be updated, and Caesar will tell you, I just routinely, and I would urge everyone to do this. I go type things through the search and they won't come up. And he'll start getting emails from me saying, what about this, what about that? And the most important thing, in my opinion, and I don't have expertise here, is can you find what you're looking for? And many times the answer is no. But then you also say, what is enough? Right? What is, because the website is not supposed to be the place where you go and find everything. It's supposed to be like a little piece. Like, I can answer your question, but you need to call this number, or you need to go to this office, come to this info session, or go to the Welcome Center, which if you haven't been to, by the way, I would urge you to stop by. There's some neat things going on in the Welcome Center right now. Anything else?
Yeah, if I may, thank you so much for the update. Actually, this is great, and I hope you come to the Academic Senate to do the same, because repetition matters.
3 times.
3 times. But a couple of things. First, I agree with Ricky, but I also believe the website is also for all the employees. So we need to figure out a way that, yes, there is student face for the students' needs, but then we also need a place where all of us can go in, and I'm talking about governance, for example, committees. You know, we need to really formalize the process. So when people want to find out more about Guided Pathways, they go on their website, and then they can find, you know, when they meet, what time, where, what are the projects that they're doing, minutes, agendas. So we can all be informed and find things, you know, outside of our emails, because we talked about this many, many times. So I'm hoping that's part of the project, you know, that there is a student facing, but also employee facing, so we can help with that. And then, you know, same with the committee, right? I believe Guided Pathways is not just the co-chairs and the assistants, but there is a committee as well. And in the committee, there is faculty, the students, classified professionals, right? So it's more of a collaborative effort. So it'd be nice also to know, you know, when they're meeting, and you know, from there, because I know you said I'm going to reach out to several of you, so maybe that's a good way to start, where they can be part of that committee. So, you know, delegate little projects, because I know it's a lot. I mean, you all told me like, wow, it's amazing, but it's a lot. And, you know, something, it'd be nice also to see timelines, like when are you all expecting that certain projects will kind of end? For example, you know, the website, you know, what would be prioritized, which ones go, and so we can all kind of see, you know, what is it that we're doing and in what timeline, and then people can also kind of jump in with whatever availability that they have for specific projects. And if you want, you know, the committee on committees, which one is here, so I was going to let Mona say, but if you want to formalize it, she can make a call out for another coordinator. So it's so people on campus, whether they're classified professionals or faculty, could actually just submit their application and letter of interest, if that would help your process. But I'm just, you know, offering that.
I love that idea, so thank you for that, particularly with the emphasis on regular updates and a timeline. And if you all can work with Caesar, his office can help with communications once the timeline is agreed. So Janelle, if we can invite them back sometime next month, maybe we can have a timeline. Doesn't need to, you know, maybe at least over the next semester, right? I think if we could start there, then we can also publicize that in our monthly newsletter, our president's update. We can push it out in 3 different areas in hopes that people will capture it somewhere. So all great suggestions. Thank you for that.
Because I'm hoping we join efforts. I know you're all maxed out, but we wanted to, you know, look into the governance handbook and help with the, you know, Mona and I, the team have been working, and she has a tracking system, and, you know, we're trying to really help to at least provide an example on a very strong webpage, if you can see the curriculum actually committee and how they structure their webpage, is actually better than the academic senate. I'm a little jealous, but I'm gonna go in and fix it. And maybe have like a model so we can all align, so they all kind of look the same, but with the information that is pertinent, and I think that would help all of us stay accountable too and help each other be better.
You know, communication, it goes without saying, but it's worth saying that communication is so important from the communications professor. But even if Maria Jose wasn't the communications professor, these are all very legitimate things that we need to keep people informed with what's going on campus. And I also commend you all for your efforts. Any other questions or comments?
Good work.
Yeah.
Really
So
good.
Janelle, we could invite Christina back. And if we could invite the entire committee who's working on the project, doesn't mean they all have to come. But if we can invite them, maybe they were invited, I'm not sure, but it's always good to see, everyone involved with the efforts. So thank you again. Look forward to the counseling piece and figuring out how students get in the appropriate line to see a counselor. But also commend the counselors. We've got data on their Saturday appointments. So that has been a huge effort, and we appreciate those efforts for allowing students to get access to a student. Any other comments for the good of the order? Yes.
I know previously on number 8, we were talking about Black Educator Network event.
Yes.
But that was actually scheduled, it was originally for a different time, but it was rescheduled for the Black Film Fridays that are been hosting. We hosted this Friday from 2 to 5. Moved the time for the Black Educators event, so if you guys could make it, I didn't really see anything about that, but it would be nice to see a lot of more faculty.
Absolutely, and I apologize, I was working to try to get this announcement out about this matter that took place on campus. You should know there will be a calendar linking to all the Black History Month events, and we're encouraging participation in all of them, so absolutely. Anything else? Yes, Susan.
This is a request to anybody on the campus of the college, essentially, but as part of the development of our accreditation report, we are looking for some success stories and standout projects that we can incorporate. Just about everything we do is linked to an accreditation standard. So if you have anything like that that comes to mind, please let me know or send to Catherine Schaefer. She is working on some of those introductory sections of the report, and that would be a good place for us to highlight those.
That is exciting. I have a number of things that are in my mind. Mesa is at the forefront just because we just did a tour, and of course, they've got several Jack Cook Scholarship recipients. The first Latina to go to outer space. And we have to remember to put her in. AACC has an alumni of the year. My goal is to put her name forward, but those are just some of the things but please, as Susan is saying, if you have success stories in your respective areas, please send them to the folks that are working on accreditation. We will have an update on accreditation in the next College Council meeting, so Janelle will add that. Any other comments? Any other updates?
We are actually having an election for the president-elect this semester. So I want to encourage faculty that are interested in leadership or anything related with the Senate to come and talk to us. Anybody at the executive team, just to pick our brains, and whether you have experience or not, I think it's valuable and it's important work. And if that's something that maybe you might be interested in participating, please reach out and you'll see that coming out this semester at some point. Yeah,
And just as importantly, we're really fun group to hang out with.
we really are. We have fun.
We had a retreat recently. and
You're
it was
supposed to have fun when you
and
work.
lively.
Yeah, right. And that person really does get an opportunity to see the behind the scenes of operations of the college, and I believe it's a valuable experience all the way around.
Absolutely.
There are absolutely lively discussions that take place. So
Yes.
if you want to have an imprint on this college, moving forward. This is an excellent opportunity to do so.
This is it, yep. Thank you.
Any other updates? I have one that unfortunately is another somber note, and this is kind of a probe into the role of a president. We unfortunately lost one of our students, or became aware of from one of our faculty members, and thank you also, Masa, for bringing that forward. So I'd just like to take a moment of silence for that student who lost their life. And Masa, once you find out the details of any funeral arrangements, that we make sure we get that information to my office. We regularly send flowers, and I've said this recently a number of times, that since November, folks, I have sent more flowers and words of encouragement to people who have lost their lives. And so please, I beg of you, let's remember to be kind to one another, because you have no idea what someone could be going through. You could be the person who adds a smile to someone's face versus the contrary. So just a moment of silence. With that said, thank you all for what you do for our college, your leadership. We hear you, we see you, appreciate you. And we will do this again.